Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Mindset Explosion, Season 4, Episode 8. And we are talking about homeschooling mindset. I have been joined by the lovely Emily Hughes. Thank you for coming in, Emily.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So I think there's going to be a lot of interest for tonight because obviously in the UK, we are pretty much all homeschooling at the moment, at least for the next week. I don't know when half term is everywhere else. We got our half term coming up. So testing times, and you've just done a massive thing on children's mental health week. Is that right? That was last week.
Yeah, that's right. So we have a Facebook community that we've built up for parents whose kids are either doing their GCSEs or they're in post-16. And so we wanted to put something on for Children's Mental Health Week, just to support with the kind of the common issues and the things that you probably need to be able to talk to your child about, but you're not totally sure how to. So we talked, depression and stress levels and self-harm and so on, and had a Q&A with a psychotherapist. It was really, really interesting, actually. Breaking bad news as well was the first one that we did, because at the moment, it's unfortunately something a lot of us are having to do, whether that's just, where a relative's tested positive or something that's then more significant later. It's so tough at the moment. Being a parent, you just want to protect them. You just want to kind of wrap them up in a little bubble and look after them during all of this, because it's really stressful, but you can't. You just have to be there for them. So we've spent a lot of this week talking about quite how to do that. It's been really interesting.
That sounds really good. Are you going to package that up as a separate course? Yeah, I was going to say that.
We might well do, actually. Yeah, they're all going to be on our podcast. So we have the Parent Guide to GCSE podcast. So you'll be able to get all of those on as episodes there. So hopefully then it's a thing that people can refer back to. It's not just GCSE stuff on there. We've got a series of difficult but important conversations to have with your child. So we've talked about, racism and gender issues and all sorts. So if you've got a teenager and a difficult conversation to have with them, odds are we've done a podcast episode on it that might help.
I love that. So can we access your podcast through the web link in the copy? Yeah.
Yep. So in the blog link, it has the blog posts and all the podcast posts. So long as I've uploaded them all to the website, which I think I haven't done the most recent ones yet. But yeah, we're on iTunes. So
are easy enough to find. No, I think that's excellent. I think it's one of those subjects that doesn't really get spoken about. I don't know what it's like at schools now, obviously, but haven't been for a while. But my kids, and they're not. Well, my eldest has just started seniors. So yeah, I think it's important stuff. We've been watching Ackley Bridge, Emily. Just they were insisting on that was their learning their life skills, which was quite good. So
nice. It's on my list. I haven't watched it yet because Sunetra Sarkar, who's in it, is absolutely lovely, and she's one of our members. She's read the book, and I got to do an interview with her and chat with her. Like I was just like, yeah, I'm just casually chatting with Sunetra Sarkar. It was super cool. She's so lovely. So I've got to watch it.
I remember saying that.
Of things to watch.
It was good. The kids loved it. So obviously what you've set up, I think, is amazing. And when we're on the mastermind together, and when you were talking about, oh my God, this is what parents need right now. And you're not just someone who's just, hey, should we just set this up? You are actually you're still a teacher, really. What was your background?
I think once a teacher, always a teacher. You can't get it out of your DNA. So I did 15 years as a secondary maths teacher, head of maths, lead practitioner for maths, and so on, and was kind of building up my career, and then had a couple of bad bosses in a row and a bout of depression because of it, and decided then that my sanity was more important than my salary, and ended up leaving teaching to start up a business, or 3 as it turned out, because it's not quite that simple. And this all came about because our daughter was, I think, in year 5 or something. There was a Facebook group for parents, and one of the parents jumped on and went, help, how do I help my child with this homework? It was bar modeling for maths, which is quite a new way of describing things. And if you've not seen it before, you've got no clue. There's no way to guess it. So I had this little light bulb. Well, hang on. We've tried all these other possible things in terms of business, supporting teachers and things. Who's supporting parents through all of this? there's millions of pounds get spent on revision guides and tutors and all the stuff for students. But as a parent, so my stepsons were twins going through their GCSEs, and we, despite both being teachers, because my husband was a teacher as well, we know how to help our students, but helping your own kids is a whole different ball game, because teenagers, it turns out, don't like to listen to their parents at all, even if they do know stuff. So it was a challenge, and all of that kind of came together, and I had this mindset explosion almost that went, we should do this, we should be supporting parents. So we've put together this whole program to help parents know what they should know, not just because schools tell teenagers the vast majority of this stuff. They don't go home and tell their parents about it. When you ask what did they do at school, you get, it was all right. That was about it. So if you don't know how to help them, then they can be doing what one of ours tried to do. He'd sit upstairs at his desk. He'd look like he was working really hard. He'd have his notes in front of him, but he wasn't really taking it in, because whenever we weren't looking, he'd get his Kindle out from his desk drawer and be reading instead. And he'd just hear us coming up the stairs and just grab his bits of paper. But we wouldn't have known to check for that kind of stuff, to ask the right kind of questions, because you kind of want to trust them to begin with. But it helps to do that if you know what you're supposed to be looking for, if you know what really ineffective revision looks like, reading your notes, and what active, helpful, efficient revision looks like, which saves them so much time, saves you so much stress. So we put it all together in a little bite-sized chunks for parents so that they can just feel in control again. I feel like they can be the coach rather than the drill sergeant,
Yeah, I know, I love it. And the great thing is, like, you started doing this before any pandemic, and it's been hugely successful. And actually, obviously we were all thrown into it last year, the whole world, right? Homeschooling, and I was like, well, then all the children were still in was it key stage 2, and one was key stage 1. But I'm looking at them, oh my God, I can't remember any of this. I didn't need to use it anymore, but they got to do it, and it was a struggle. They were here with me for a little bit, and then also with Mum. But obviously, I'm not the only parent that went through that, and I know. Obviously, in my in the work I'm in now, speaking to a lot of parents, and they're all saying the same thing. I think some are on it, and some are just, I don't know what to do.
Every parent who's listening, but every parent who's out there is convinced that they're doing a terrible job and everyone else is doing just fine. It's not true. We are all in this together, and we're all really struggling with it. And that's okay, because even if you are a teacher, as I said, teaching your own child is a whole other ball game. And if you're not a teacher, there's a reason that teachers go through at least a year's teacher training to be able to do this stuff. So stop beating yourself up. That's the biggest message from this evening, is don't try and be a superhero. Just do what you can. It'll all be fine. We'll work it out.
So from a teacher's point of view, are you saying once the kids get back, teachers were going to do their thing, get in there, and that's it?
Teachers pretty much have superpowers. So if you look at all of the last second changes that the DfE have thrown at them, we're not going to close, oh no wait, we are going to close, the 24 hours notice, in fact no, it was about 12 hours notice to provide remote lessons. Teachers are capable of actual miracles. And so provided they're not being constantly interfered with by the DfE and Ofsted and so on, I think they will pull it together beautifully, and they will fix it, because that's what we do. We often have kids who come in halfway through the year from, say, a different country, so they're battling a language issue, and they've been doing different things in their school, and we help get them caught up. That's what we do. So it will be okay. It's obviously more of a challenge if your child is supposed to be doing exams. So if they're in year 10 through to year 13, because it's just a bit more high stakes at that point, but there's plenty they can be doing, even though we don't know what officially is going to happen in terms of their grades. It's teacher assessed. So they just need to be giving their teacher as much evidence as they possibly can. Impress your teacher. That's it, full stop. If you focus on that, if you get your child to focus on that rather, for the next 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I suppose, because half term, then they're going to be on track as best they can be. And that's all you can do.
Yeah. Great advice. Thank you for that. If you are watching on the live, please give us a share. And if you've got any comments, put them in, whether it be you're watching on LinkedIn or Facebook, and I can see them and we can put them up on the screen. Jeanette says it's great to be able to listen in live. Thank you, Jeanette. So obviously you said things have changed loads forget last year because it's gone, right? So we've dealt with last year, sort of, still dealing with it. And this year there's been a lot of changes with exams. Your focus in primary, are you pretty much, the focus is, your courses is GCSE, A-level and beyond, is that right?
Yeah, so year 10, year 11 and year 12, we currently cover in terms of our membership at the moment. And then we'll be moving on to cover year 13 as well next year. But it's just about helping them get onto the next stage, whatever the next stage is. So if they're in year 10 right now, it's just making sure that they've got the foundations right. So when they then get into year 11 and hopefully things are a little bit more normal, they'll be ready to hit the ground running and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've done a bit of pivoting to kind of work with the new change that have come in. You got is it a different type of course or how does that work?
Yeah, so we've done a few things because there isn't quite the same focus on exams. So we've built in some more kind of life skills, financial education and things, the stuff that you need to teach your kids about credit cards and payday loans and their pay slips and how to read them, taxes and stuff. Those kind of key bits. We're looking at developing a little learning how to learn course. But I'm having to do all the learning how to learn first so I can teach it better. So that's going to take a little while. And then we've put together a package based on basically what parents are asking me for at the moment, which is either help my child isn't really engaging with their remote learning, or I'm worried they're not doing enough to be able to then get back into the swing of things. They've got mocks when they get back and so on and so on. Or my child has totally lost motivation and I feel like I care more about their GCSEs than they do right now. And it's fair enough. They've been through so much this year in year 11. They've had so many curveballs thrown at them that it's not surprising a lot of them have lost motivation. So we've put together our motivation masterclass and our how to get epic teacher assessed grades course in one little package. So if that sounds like it'd be useful to you, it's just parentguide2gcse.com/epic. Nice and easy to remember. parentguide2gcse.com/epic. And that's just for your child to watch. So it's all the things that you've probably been telling them, but they won't listen to because it's you, because that's how teenagers roll. So if you want an expert to just say, look, this is what you need to do to impress your teacher so that you're ready to get those awesome grades that you deserve, and here's how to get yourself motivated for it, that's what you need. Because so many people were asking the same questions that it seems silly not to just put it in a package that I could then offer to people. So yeah, it's we're trying to make sure that we're supporting people as best we can given the ever-changing circumstances. So yeah, it's being a bit creative at the moment.
No, I love it. And I think just before we came on air, we kind of talked about, because it's nothing, parents, as parents, we say all this stuff to our children, but we also know they don't listen to parents the same way, a little bit, and then they go into school and they listen to the teachers a little bit more, I would say. I think it's a different relationship at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think, it's not that you're saying anything different, I think, but it's that importance, right? It's coming from someone else. And I think I said to you when we were teaching, we were doing like martial arts, but it was life skills, but it was the same. It's no different. Our children, I feel they need a good at least 4 to 5 different sources of different people, whether it be parents, grandparents, teacher, and at least 1 or 2 role models that are suitable, that you can control as a parent, because we can't always control those role models, can we? I think that's so important. And then, yeah, it's great you're doing that one for the children. But the other courses, I like the fact it's aimed at, doesn't it really I think I took it a bit for granted even before coming on to speak to you, is that it's actually for the parent. I love that.
Well, because you don't know what to do. It's so frustrating. You're watching your kids go through this stuff. You're watching them get stressed about coursework and revision and how to juggle everything. And you're sure that school must have taught them how to revise effectively, but nobody's communicated that to you. At best, you'll get an hour from school where they sit you down as a parents' evening, which has obviously been trickier this year. But schools don't have time or capacity for this stuff. They are so overworked at the moment. It's insane. So we just wanted to kind of be that support platform for parents. So even if it's just joining our Facebook community so you can vent to people who are dealing with the same stuff as you, it's just that little bit of support that makes such a difference. Because when you first have kids, there's all these groups that you can join to talk about how you deal with the teething and the lack of sleep and the toilet training, all the stuff. By the time they get to being teenagers, everyone seems to assume that you know what you're doing. We don't. None of us do. Because parenting teenagers, it's like you don't realize quite how challenging you sometimes are to live with until you have to live with a smaller version of yourself. So just bringing parents together to be able to say, it's okay, it's not just you, this is totally normal, and just tell us about it, we can help. That's the power of building this community. And there's such a lovely bunch of people, our community. It's they're so quick to jump in and help each other. I love it. Really, really proud that I've been able to set something up like this.
Oh, you should be. It sounds amazing. I love it. Everything you're saying. I'm thinking about just even my own personal training. Obviously, Emily, me and you on the same mastermind, and that in itself, we're surrounded by quite a few different business owners and all different kinds of things. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, Alison's.
Truth bomb, Emily Mees. Thank you.
It's terrifying.
And just being in that group, I've learned so much, and I've only had the one session with you guys on there, and I feel it does. You build a community, so you're getting the support of people that are, like you said, just in the same. I feel the same as you. Oh my God, what a relief! It's not just me. I don't need to feel guilty about this anymore as a parent. But one's doing the homework, the other one's not. The other one's just been like here. I've actually managed to get them back to school, but for various reasons. But when they were doing the homeschooling last year, one was like saying, "I've handed it in." Press the button to say it's been handed in. I don't need to do that now. Oh, and this one's my elders were saying this one's late, it's overdue, so I don't need to do it. It's like, no, it doesn't work like that.
That's part of the. If you're looking for a silver lining to all of this, they are developing so many more kind of independence kind of skills, that ability to actually monitor their work that's not just their homework. Because if it's in their homework diary, that's easy to check as a parent. Where it's being delivered on 4 different platforms and via email and all sorts of things, it's trickier to keep on top of, and they're having to learn to be kind of regimented, to be organized. And that's something that they don't always necessarily do until they're maybe at uni. So there are silver linings. It's you just have to look quite hard for them. I think for GCSE students and A-level students, the fact that they're having to evidence to their teachers, this is what I can do, this is why I'm awesome and I deserve this grade, is exactly the same skill they're going to have to use when they go for jobs or they ask for a pay rise or a promotion. And that's, again, something that they don't normally get to experience until they get to their first interview, and then they suck at it and they don't get the job. So silver linings, we're going to keep looking for them.
Yeah,
it's going to keep raining for a little while longer.
So you're the umbrella, right?
Yeah, I'm trying.
But I guess as well, my memory is pretty good, right? So I just, my friends would say, "Hey, what did we do on this day when we was at school?" And I was like, "Oh, we did this, and this." Alice's got a question. I'll pop it up in a minute. And but obviously, how we learned is probably different. I'd say it's changed a lot since I was at school. So, and how people, how teachers would have changed a lot. So I think it seems, I just hearing you, I think, oh my God, this is just perfect. This is absolutely perfect. Is that a question we can put up from Alice? Let's have a look.
Yeah. Well, it's less of a question than a statement that I think many parents will resonate with there. It's the sort of thing that they do just to see what happens, or because sometimes when they don't revise for mocks and things like that, the reason is that if they revise and they work really hard and then they don't do very well, they don't have an excuse to make themselves feel better about it. They'd rather not try, and therefore it's not their fault when they don't do as well as they should. It's a kind of a get out of jail free almost for when they're feeling really insecure about their learning. I've seen it a lot with teenagers over the years, because you get the whole range over 15 years. So yeah, there might be an element of that lurking in there.
So what practical tips to kind of
building up confidence, mostly. If it is an insecurity thing, then it's possibly a kind of growth mindset situation where it's that versus the fixed mindset. The growth mindset says the more I learn, the better I get. We now know in terms of brain development that the more things you learn, the more you kind of fire off, all these synapses are zapping all over the place. You're making new connections in your brain, and it's making your brain stronger. Before, probably when we were at school, we kind of assumed that intelligence was fixed. We all did our IQ tests and thought we were super smart.
Yeah.
If they've got a fixed mindset, it's like if I fail, then I'm rubbish. Whereas if you've got a growth mindset and you maybe get a couple of questions wrong in your mocks, you go back and you look at those questions and you say, well, why did I get those wrong? Did I not understand the topic? Had I not covered the topic? Did I just forget when I was in the exams? So you can put in place those structures to improve. It's just the same as when you run a business. You try a launch and it fails horribly. You have two choices. You either give up on that product entirely and move on and waste all of that time, or you go back and try and figure out what went wrong and fix it and try again. And you just keep improving every time. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset might be something you want to, if it's not something you already know lots about. Carol Dweck wrote the book called Mindset. Yeah, just Mindset. It's very good. She's very interesting. I saw her speak once. Really, really, it just makes it really clear, because we've all been there and we've all avoided doing things because we were afraid of failing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fixed mindset coming out. Whereas when you step outside that comfort zone and you start saying yes and then figuring out how to make it work, oh my goodness, can you fly? So helping your kids to become more growth mindset oriented is a really important thing that you can do as a parent. And the biggest thing you can do to help that as a parent is praise effort, not outcome. You worked really hard, you studied and you did your best, not how come you only got a grade 4. Yeah. So praise the effort, because that way that's what they start to attach the positive feelings to. If I try hard, that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, I like that. Yeah, I agree with that actually. A lot. Just in, I know it's different, but where we've been teaching the martial arts really, and a lot of that was about personal growth. So yeah, and you see their confidence change a lot more, and that's just younger kids really. So and it has a knock-on effect, because that has a knock-on effect to everything then as well.
Totally. And one of the things that I used to say a lot, I like the analogy here, is if I was a teacher and trying to explain something to you, say I'm trying to teach you trigonometry, think of it as a jigsaw puzzle piece that I'm trying to fit into your head. If I'm trying to put that piece in upside down and I just keep trying to put that piece in upside down, it's never going to fit. Yeah. I have to try it this way instead and explain it differently, which is why teaching skill comes into it. It's why we train, and it's why it's far more challenging to do as a parent. But you not understanding it isn't your fault. It's my fault, because I haven't put the jigsaw puzzle piece the right way up for you yet. So if your child isn't understanding something the first time, it's not because they're stupid. It's not because they're never going to get it. It's because it hasn't been explained the right way for them yet, because our brains all work really differently. So if their teacher's explaining something and it's just not going in, send them off to Google, search for it. There's bound to be a teacher that's done a YouTube video on it. Try some different ones until they find the thing that fits, because that's your growth mindset working again. But it's a skill set, that learning to try different things until you find the one that works, and it helps them not to feel stupid because they didn't get it the first time.
That's a proper nugget there. That's a good one. I like that. Oh, we like Google. I think in a way as parents that it's been difficult with homeschooling, but I guess as well as parents, it's knowing the resources that are there, and more how to find them, I guess.
Well, there's some terrible stuff out there on the internet. Don't get me wrong, but kids generally know the good places to go. And school will be able to recommend things otherwise. So there's plenty of things, particularly for maths and English and science. There's tons of great websites, and just you can quite quickly tell whether they know what they're talking about or not. And if they don't know what they're talking about, then your child will just go, oh, nah, and switch over. They're very good at that stuff. So
good. I like it. Just before we do wrap up, let's say if there's a parent watching now and maybe they've had some kind of idea of their child's results that maybe not what maybe expected or is hoped, to, maybe not on track for what they. I mean, is it too late to turn it around? Is it, what can be done for that parent to feel, oh, that's better?
Never too late to turn it around. There's always stuff that can be done. So if you're talking exam years, then it's currently impress your teachers. It's all about impressing your teachers right now, which is what we talk kids through in the masterclass. Literally, make sure you're doing this with the work that you're doing. Here's how you use it as evidence, because that way, even if things don't quite go as you'd planned, you've got all the stuff you need to either resit or appeal, which is a fairly big deal at the moment because they still haven't sorted what the appeals process will be this year. But there's always stuff they can do. Just little and often is absolutely the key. If you can get them in the habit of spending 2-3 minutes after each lesson just making notes, like the key points from this lesson were, then they've got all their revision notes written up already, which will make such a difference as they go along. But I mean, if you want ongoing support, that's what we offer. Come and find us at parentguide2gcse.com. We've got the membership, so we can hold your hand all the way through. Oh, making a noise there, just hitting my computer, getting all excited and waving. If you're fed up with saying the same thing over and over and over to your child and it just going in one ear and straight out the other, then let's help.
Really, as a parent, never.
But yeah, just if you're in the same boat and you're looking down the barrel of GCSE results, even if that's not until next year, then the masterclass talks them through finding their big why. The thing that motivates them past, oh, I've got to get these grades on a bit of paper, to looking forward to what their dream job's going to be, or their choice of dream jobs if they're undecided yet. And we talk them through that whole process so they've got something to fight for, because that way you're not having to nag them, you're getting to coach them towards their big goal, and it makes such a psychological difference. So parentguide2gcse.com/epic if you'd like us to talk your child through it, or just come and join us at our Facebook group, our Facebook page, and be part of the conversation. And join up with some other parents who are going through the same stresses as you and ask the questions, because that's what we're here for.
Brilliant. And there's
it's never too late to turn it around.
And there's loads of free resources on your site, isn't there? I've seen there's a timetable planner. You got loads of stuff on there, your podcast as well. So, but yeah, well, obviously, I'd say get on there, get on the course. You're going to learn loads. Emily, thank you so much for coming on. And by the way, I know Clubhouse is quite new and probably some people have not heard of it yet. You've been doing, I know we've done a room on Clubhouse, but are you doing anything on Clubhouse in regards to any of the stuff we talked about, or anything coming up quickly?
Yes, we're doing a Wednesday night 8 o'clock session every week on something to do with GCSEs at the moment. And we are in the process of getting a club, the Parent Guide to Education.
Oh, all right. I got 4 invites at the moment, so
nice.
I know I might have to sound
popular.
But if anyone does need them, just drop me a message with your phone number, and I will send one over. There you go. And
awesome. If you've got any questions, if there's anything else I can help you with, do comment on the video, and I'll try and keep an eye on comments and help people out.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Emily. Pleasure to have you on. Brilliant. Thank you. Thanks, everyone else. And I think next week will be, I haven't got a guest book in, and so I'm going to have a little break. It's half term, so I'll have probably that Sunday off and spend some time with my boys. Thank you for watching. Peace, love. See you next time.